Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Elivaras, and welcome back to the second episode now of Let's Learn Root. Last time, we focused on the basics of the game, as well as some tutorial levels revolving around learning the Marquis de Cat. And today, we are going to take a look at the next tutorial and get used to the Eyrie Dynasties. So let's go ahead and hop right into that. I'm going to continue this series by, I want to continue this series because it's very important as you start to play this game to really understand what all the factions do, because it really influences your understanding of the game and makes you a much better player, and also gets you a lot more familiar when you know what all the factions do. So usually in Root, the first step is figuring out what your own factions do. Well, after learning the rules anyways, it's figuring out what your own factions do, or what your own faction does, rather, and then figuring out what all the other factions do. So, the once proud Eyrie Dynasties wish to reclaim the glory of their once great aristocracy and retake the woodland from the Marquis. They score each turn by building and protecting roosts in the woodland. So you begin with a roost and 6 warriors. Roosts are the Eyrie's only building type. They are used to craft cards from your hand, recruit warriors, and score VP each turn. So Kaka will need a leader who can expand our avian empire. Let's select the despot, since he will allow us to build from turn 1. So the Eyrie has 4 different leaders they can choose, and each leader has a very interesting function that they add to the Eyrie. The builder allows the Eyrie to ignore their disdain for trade. Now, the Eyrie have an interesting element to them, which is that they are able to craft quite easily with their roosts, unlike the Marquis, who have to build workshops. Every Eyrie roost counts as a crafting piece, but they have what is called a disdain for trade, which means whenever they craft an item, they only ever get 1 victory point from it, no matter how many victory points it says it will give. The builder ignores that. So charismatic is the predominant strategy for playing Eyrie, when it's possible to, when you have the cards that line up for it, is to play a charismatic leader with the goal of never turmoiling, which we'll get into soon, but that is referred to as the God of War, and it's because whenever he recruits, he places 2 warriors, so it means you have a very solid pool of recruitment. The commander, as attacker in battle, you deal an extra hit. Very, very powerful. However, he suffers from not having enough recruits. So he's usually a bad leader to start with. And then the despot is a good opening leader, because if you have maybe a bad hand and things aren't working out for you, he starts off with the move and build. And I haven't talked about this yet, but you'll notice under each leader, they have a move and recruit, battle and recruit, move and build, move and battle, move and build. And the reason this is important is because you'll see in just a second as we start talking about the decree. But the Eyrie are constrained to doing what is in their decree each turn, which is of 4 different types: recruiting, battling, moving, and building. And as such, what these 2 things state is what actions the Eyrie start with from the very beginning. And so being able to move and build a roost is extremely valuable if your hand isn't fantastic. So the other key about the despot is if you remove at least 1 enemy building or token in battle, you score 1 point. So you kind of score extra points from your battles. So we're going to pick the despot here. You can see move decree, build decree. So we're going to talk about the decree in a second here. So the Eyrie must follow the official decree each turn. Each column of the decree is associated with a different action. Your leader determines the initial actions in your decree. In this case, move and build. So this is where I'm saying it's very important, depending on your hand, to pick the right leader. Each turn, we must add 1 or 2 cards to our decree. Only 1 card may be a bird card. Let's add a mouse now. So they want us to add a mouse to recruit. Now, I would heavily advise against this. Generally, when you're playing with players that know what they're doing, if you ever put a a card that is suited, so it's a mouse, a rabbit, or a fox card in your recruit, people will target you because of that and force you to Turmoil. And I'm sure we'll talk about Turmoil soon, but don't do what this tutorial says to do in this case. This is a learning thing, just putting a card in the decree, but don't focus on, oh, okay, you know, I have a roost in mouse, so I'm going to put a mouse card in recruit. As your decree grows, you can do more and more each turn. When you assign cards to your decree, only their suit applies. If you want to use a card's effect, you must save it for the crafting phase. During daylight, you may craft cards from your hand using roosts as the crafting pieces. Each roost contributes the suit of its clearing towards paying costs, much like the Marquee workshops. Your roost in the mouse clearing will allow you to craft sappers. This card will come in handy if you are attacked. Now again, take this with a huge pinch of salt. Bird cards are so valuable to the Eyrie to put in their decree. You would never do this on a first turn in an actual game. You would never. Sappers is not a valuable enough card to do this. I have no bird cards in my hand. I'm going to want bird cards in my decree because they allow me to do any action in any suit, or I get to choose the action but do it in any suit. That's so valuable. So don't actually do this in your first game. No cards to craft. Press continue button. During daylight, your decree is resolved from left to right. Recruit a warrior in a roost matching the suit of your decree assignment. So it says, my decree says recruit in mouse. So I am going to recruit in mouse. Now, well, I guess we'll talk about that in a second. So bird assigned to a decree can be used in any clearing. Move 3 warriors to the fox clearing below. 3 warriors allows you to maximize the hit potential of your die roll in battle because you can hit maximum of a 3. However, there are ambush cards that people can play against you, which I talked about in my cat episode, where you might want to have an insurance policy because here's the thing. If I go into this cat clearing and I battle with 3 warriors, if the cats ambush me, I'm down to 1. And if we roll a 1-1, both of our warriors are dead. And you'll see in our decree, we have said we are going to build a roost in any clearing. If I do this and I lose all my warriors, I can't build because in order to build, I need to rule a clearing that does not already have a roost in it. So if I lose all my warriors, I only have this original clearing. I don't rule anything else, and because there's a roost here, I'm guaranteed to Turmoil. So they want to move 3. It wants us to hit minus. Can we just... fine, we'll hit the 3. Do what it says. So if this would not... we have to be very careful about this as the Eyrie. Because we're so rigid, we always want to set up like kind of quote-unquote escape paths to make sure that you have some flexibility. We're not going to get too deep into that right now. So we skip the battle action because you do not have any cards assigned to the battle column of your decree. And finally, we get to build our second roost. So because we're not battling, what I just talked about doesn't really matter. But if we are going to battle, that we need to keep in mind the possibility of an ambush. At the start of evening, you score victory points for your roost. Select your avatar for more details. The roost track shows our progress towards retaking the forest. The more roosts you have, the more victory points you score each turn. So we are right now going to score 1 point a turn, and then every roost we add will score more, and then we get extra card draw when we have 3 roosts or 6 roosts. So it's important to note. So there we go. Our first goal, have 3 roosts. Marquis de Ca, what are they going to do? These bird brains think they can retake the forest? Not on our prowl. So they're just going ahead and recruiting. They're moving some cats. Oh, they moved up there, closer to the front line. New day, new opportunity to add to our decree. Let's add a card to recruit so we can get more warriors each turn. Again, suited cards in recruit are a potential problem. And just to clarify that, if I have a card that says recruit in mouse, I need a roost in a mouse clearing to recruit. If someone destroys my roost and it comes to my turn and I need to recruit in mouse, and I don't have a mouse roost, I will turmoil. And turmoiling is very bad. And again, we're going to talk about that soon, but I just really want to stress that you just want to take some of the things it's telling you to do in this tutorial with a grain of salt. Now it's taking us each turn. You may also assign a second card to your decree. Assign a mouse card to the battle column so we can fight the Marquis in mouse clearings. So here we go. This can also be kind of dangerous. Suited cards in battle, because I need to fight in a mouse clearing. If everyone evacuates mouse clearings, I'm in trouble, and I'm going to turmoil as well. Nothing to craft this turn. No matter, your disdain for trade limits your reward for crafting items to a single point. Trade, like many things, is quite literally beneath you. So we have to recruit in mouse, which we've done. We recruit in fox, which we've done. Now I will state the order of the icons here does not matter. So I don't need to recruit in mouse first and then fox. I can recruit fox and then mouse. And in the move column as well, I will note move is move from. So I move from any clearing. It's not the clearing I'm going to move to. It's the clearing I'm going to move from. So if I have a mouse, a bird, and a bunny in this move, I can do that in any order. I could do bunny and then the mouse and then the bird, or I could do a fox move, which I don't have a fox move in here, so it would take up the bird, and then I could do the bunny, then I can do the mouse, blah blah blah. So the order here doesn't actually matter. So move 3 warriors into the mouse clearing with your opponent's recruiter to set up a battle. Now again, it's saying 3. This is risky right now because I need to build a roost, right? We're battling now, and I need to build a roost. So if I lose, if they ambush me, I'm down to 1 warrior. I'm not going to rule this clearing. So then I wouldn't be able to build, and then I would just turmoil, which is when you cannot fulfill your decree. And we'll talk more about turmoil, but yeah. Time to fight. Make those dirt dwellers tremble in the presence of your aerial warriors, and I'm sure the game is going to give us like a fantastic roll. 2-1. There you go. So, thankfully for us, we rule this clearing, so we're going to be able to build our roost, but we just took a big risk. What a glorious battle. We must rule a clearing to place a roost there. Warriors and buildings in a clearing contributes to who rules it. Now, very interesting, the Eyrie always win ties. This is unique to the Eyrie. For any other faction, if you have 3 warriors of your own faction and another faction has 3 warriors, generally no one rules the clearing. They're tied. But the Eyrie win ties. So now we're going to build a roost because we rule. And good. You draw an additional card during evening for every 3 roosts you have in play. Oh, very nice. So there we go. We saw that on the card. Unfortunately, we're not getting any bird cards here, which is a bit unfortunate, because that just really expands the ability that we have to do things. Now they're hitting our roost here. We don't have an ambush, so there's a possibility we lose it. Select the Sapper's card you crafted to take out an additional enemy warrior. So, okay, great. Although, honestly, that doesn't really matter, because they killed our roost anyway, so do we... Like, is it that important to kill 1 extra cat? No. But we're just following it because of the tutorial. So again, take some of this with a grain of salt. I feel turmoil approaching, but you must add to the decree each turn no matter what. Make an assignment now. Just don't worry too much about where. So, you know what I was talking about? How you... if we have a mouse roost and someone like destroys our mouse roost and we no longer have any, so we can't recruit in mouse, that's basically what just happened. We lost our fox roost and we've said we're going to recruit in fox. So we have to add to our decree. So we could maybe craft this at some point. So I'm going to add this to the decree. It doesn't matter where I put it because I'm about to turmoil on recruit. So no cards to craft. I'm going to recruit a warrior here. And now, I don't have a fox roost. No clearings to recruit in that match the decree. Continue to enter turmoil. Squawk! We've fallen into turmoil because we couldn't perform all actions on our decree. Could not recruit in a fox clearing. These malevolent Marquis destroyed your only roost in a fox clearing last turn, leaving you with no fox clearings to recruit to. During turmoil, you discard all the cards in your decree and lose 1 point for every discarded bird card. This is so far the only faction that can lose victory points. You then select a new leader and proceed to evening. So I skip basically the rest of my turn and lose a bunch of points. You see my decree emptying out here. And you're seeing now why it's so dangerous to put things like that in your decree. If I say I have one mouse roost and I say I'm gonna recruit in mouse, someone just walks and destroys the mouse roost, well, too bad. So we're gonna go with the charismatic leader, the god of war. And so we're just gonna recruit and we're gonna battle. And thankfully we have a mouse card in our hand. So one thing about the Eyrie, the charismatic leader, the god of war, is that he starts with a recruit in a battle. He doesn't start with a move. So you got to make sure, if you're going to be recruiting and battling, that you have a card you can use to put into your move that matches where your roosts are, so that you can actually move before you battle. So avoiding turmoil requires careful placement of cards to your decree. Try to match suits to the clearings you plan on interacting with. Bird cards may lose you victory points during turmoil, but they offer flexibility that can prevent it from happening. And in fact, bird cards are one of the most important things for the Eyrie, as I was mentioning earlier, because if I have a bird card and recruit, I can, as long as I have a roost on the map, I can recruit to it. It doesn't matter what suit it is, and that's great. And the additional reason that's awesome is because for Eyrie, in their birdsong step, if you have no roosts, place a roost and 3 warriors in the clearing with the fewest warriors. And you'll note this happens before daylight, which is when we resolve our decree. So if our roosts ever get wiped out, that doesn't matter, even if we have cards in recruit, because we just get to place one for free. So that's a very important note. And for people playing against the Eyrie, I made this mistake early on. You might make this mistake. Don't think that destroying all the Eyrie's roosts does anything to them. In fact, sometimes that's actually better for them because they get 3 free warriors. So keep that in mind. You look ready to take it from here. Destroy enemy buildings, craft cards, and build and protect roosts to score 10 points and complete this scenario. So if you're having trouble deciding what card suits to assign to your decree, you can always minimize it and look at the map. Once you have a better idea of your board position, you can re-expand your decree and assign cards with more confidence. This is something you want to do. You want to be very careful about what I'm doing. So, okay. Unfortunately, now building is another tough one, right? Usually what you'll hear when you, what people will tell you in their experience at the Eyrie, and they want to pass on knowledge, is they'll say, keep the edges blue. So recruit, you always want it to be bird cards in recruit, like 99% of the time. And birds, you also want to be bird, because the problem I can run into, if let's say I put a fox card in build because I want to build more roosts. If I put a fox card in build, there's only 4 fox clearings. What happens if either enemies own all the building spots in fox clearings and I don't have enough battles to clear them, or I have built in all the fox clearings? I am guaranteed to turmoil. So you generally don't want to put any suited cards in build unless you are trying to forcefully turmoil. There are Eyrie strategies that revolve around forcefully turmoiling yourself so that you can set up, let's say I want to play this charismatic leader because I there's a ton of people to fight and I really need the warriors. But maybe I start off with a really awful hand. The charismatic leader has nothing in build. So there's the possibility that if I pick him at the start, I can't build anywhere. And my points, I get like 0 points for ages. Maybe what I do is I run Despot, who has move and build, and just build a crap ton of roosts for 2 turns and then force myself to turmoil and then go to the charismatic leader when I have a bunch of bird cards in my hand, hopefully. So that's just a note there, but you'll never, if people are trying to not turmoil, you'll never see anyone place cards in recruit or build unless they are relatively new to the faction or they're doing it for a very specific use case because they feel like they really need to. So for now, I own mouse roosts, and I have warriors only in mouse clearings. I recruit, move, battle, build. I'm not going to be putting any card that's not a bird into build. Although the tough part for me now is I've lost a roost, and I've chosen charismatic, so I'm going to kind of hope for a bird card here, because if I don't get one, I'm only drawing 1 card a turn since I only have 2 roosts on the map. So this is a bit of a struggle for me right now. Now, the nice thing is I do have a root tea I can craft for 1 point. Instead of 2, sadly, but it's still 1 point. So we've done that. Now we're going to resolve our decree. So we're going to recruit. Another thing you want to be careful of with the Eyrie when you're recruiting is that you have a pool of warriors, and if you're not killing those warriors fast enough, there is the possibility you turmoil on recruit because you literally do not have enough warriors to recruit. So I'm going to go ahead and fight the Marquis here. I'm prepared for the ambush. That's why I have my warriors, or extra warriors. So a 2-2, okay. And that's the end of my decree. I have nothing in build. So I'm just going to get my 1 point. I'm going to hope I get a bird card. Oh, I got a bird card. That is amazing. Perfect. So if you don't start with bird cards in your hand, you really don't want to go charismatic. That's a real struggle. So unfortunately, I didn't draw any over the period of time I was the despot leader, because that would have been amazing. Or I established more roosts before I was forced to turmoil. That would have been nice as well. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Remember, if you are ever unable to perform an action assigned to your decree, your flock will fall into turmoil. That's very important to note. So now, here we go. Assigning a blue card to build will lead to turmoil unless you take control of a blue clearing, or any clearing with an open building slot this turn. Nope, and I'm fine with that. The reason I'm fine with that is because I am going to own one of those clearings. So I'm going to start by recruiting here. I'm going to beef up my forces here. I'm going to move some warriors over to here. 3 warriors, and those are my backup warriors. And now I'm going to just go ahead and fight. Where am I going to fight? I'm going to fight here. See if we can't maybe snipe a building point. If they ambushed, oh well. It's not the end of the world. Because what you'll see I've done here is I have added a backup spot. I know I'm going to build here. Even if I don't kill any buildings, if I get ambushed and all my warriors die, I can still build. But now, I have the option of building here, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to defend. I'm going to have a better, well-defended roost here. So I'm going to build there. I have 3 roosts. I'm going to get 2 cards a turn. Another bird. This is awesome for us. So they're going ahead and recruiting. Moving their cats around. They're overworking. And there we go. Now this clearing is really nice looking for us. So, unfortunately, we don't have enough warriors to do anything about that. What we're going to do now is we're going to accelerate our pace. We're going to put 2 cards into battle. And we're going to probably battle here. And we're going to battle here. And then we're going to try and build a roost there. So, I unfortunately don't have a bunny move, which is unfortunate. But that should be okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to craft this for 1 point, which is really nice because we have a rabbit roost. Now what we're going to do is we're going to proceed to fulfill a decree. We're going to recruit in here. I'm going to move 1 warrior from here to here, because if they have an ambush, they could kill these 2 warriors, and then I have no place to put a roost. So again, I only had 1 move, so I only move once a turn, and it has to be from a mouse clearing. So now I'm in a battle list, and if they ambush me, well, that sucks. But it doesn't really matter, because I have an extra warrior just in case. And I don't have an ambush, that's nice. I kill the workshop, I get a free point. Awesome. Now battle number 2. I'm going to do in this clearing here. And if they have an ambush, again, it doesn't really matter, because they have 2 cats here. So I don't lose my roost. I don't lose a roost if they have an ambush. It's a 1-0. Oh, well. So there we go. And now I'm going to build here. And this should be the victory. 4 roosts, 3 points. Another bird card. It's coming out so well. But yeah, there we go. So that is the Eyrie Dynasties. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that was beneficial to you. If you would like to know more about the Eyrie, if you besides playing them for yourself, or you want a more in-depth guide, there is a YouTuber by the name of Neva Kaneza who has a Getting Good series on YouTube that you can take a look at. His Getting Good series is quite awesome. And it contains a lot of really in-depth information that helped me and is surely going to help you as well in your journey if you're looking to get better if you're looking to get better at the faction. No, now that you know the Marquis and the Eyrie, would you like to play a practice game between them? I'm okay for now. And the next time what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to play the Woodland Alliance, which is a very different dynamic to these two factions. And then eventually we're going to get down to playing the Riverfolk Company, which is my favorite faction. But for now, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers, guys.